We did it, guys.
What a week.
What did we do?
It.
Get Mark safe from...
We did it. Yeah, so we got Mark safe from Blue Ridge, 2023.
Nice.
We got Mark safe.
Unbeknownst to popular belief, this is not an episode about Blue Ridge. It's about all festivals. So if you tuned in and you thought that we were just going to, slam, one festival or one brand, this isn't really a slamming so much as it is about like a conversation about learning more about the music industry altogether. Like, I think when we post about Spotify, or we start posting about festivals, or we post about all the activity in the music industry, when we post about the activity in the music industry, people think, well, what the hell, man? You guys are talking about these things because you guys want to start trouble. But that'd be like saying that, like, there's other unfairness, or there are topics where people are being treated poorly at work in other departments and fields. You're expected to host conversations about corruption in law enforcement, for instance. Not to make fun of law enforcement, not to target law enforcement. You bring up conversations about corruption in law enforcement so you can make the adjustments to make it better. I don't know if anybody got that. It's not, so if somebody says, hey, we're going to talk about sexual abuse and rape, and people go, oh my God, Will, don't talk about that. That's some scary stuff. Yeah, yes, it is. And the idea is that, if we all just be quiet, it won't be popular anymore. But I hate to scare everybody, but, corruption is still popular. So people go, why do you guys talk about corruption so much in the music industry?
There's a lot of corruption in the music industry.
And they say, why is rape and sexual assault and abuse on children, why is that such a hot topic in the news? Or why is that a hot topic in hospital rooms? Why should we host conversations about things that happen to people in hospital rooms? Well, so it doesn't happen anymore. And I know, and people go, isn't there enough people talking about musicians getting their ass kicked? No. What other bands at our size are talking about the exploitations of musicians? So when people ask us, why do we do it? It's not to single out any companies or to say that we're right about something. That's the misunderstanding. It's not so our Facebook page can be right about things. It's actually to host conversations so you can challenge what we're saying. Because we know that if you challenge what we're saying, hell, even if we annoy you, if one person is hosting these conversations, if one person is hosting conversations and encouraging one voice, if there is one voice talking about corruption, if there is one voice spreading the news about hatred, then there's hope. You see, the issue is when we don't talk about it anymore. And that's how we have war and shit like that. Do y'all get what I'm saying regarding this? It's like, so if you're not talking about the corruption in music, okay, then we're not solving issues. If he's not talking about his experience and I'm not talking about my experience, and we can't share, maybe our experiences are different. Maybe we have two different perspectives. Maybe my band has had a different experience than yours, right? But we come on here and we talk about our experience in the music industry, not because our experience is superior. We talk about our experience because, unlike a lot of other bands, we know that by withholding our experience, it shortchanges somebody else that doesn't have the education and experience that can benefit from all the available knowledge. You see, if each and every band doesn't talk about their experience, then there are no voices to be challenged. There are no conversations. There's not a complete circle that we can all examine. It's not the full story. It's not to say that Sepsiss' story is superior and the way that we do things and the way that we run our company is superior to another's. It's to say that no, we're not that good and we're not that right. We're not that accurate. So challenge it. We want you to come and challenge what we're talking about because that's what conversations are about. And conversations are the things that we have. People are like, what's a conversation, Will? Conversations are the stuff that we have and share with each other before we go to war. So people that are unfamiliar with what a conversation is the stuff that we all share with each other generously before we go to fucking war. Conversation is what we have and share as a mutual investment to make adjustments to make the music industry better. And to not share and to not be generous with what we have experienced is to not allow another band to examine the full round of experiences, the full variety of experiences that people have had. Do you got it or no? Let's read some Blue Ridge stuff because it almost blew off the map. Look, we gotta definitely we gotta take a couple phone calls from actual people that went to Blue Ridge.
Yeah. And I'm excited to hear their stories. For sure.
I am too. Lexi's gonna read just some general Blue Ridge crap because it's really crazy. But you know, we've been reporting on this event for a while, but I think it's important to know that we report on all fucked up shit in music. Mm-hmm. I know sometimes it can feel like, you know, we might hang on to a certain topic a little longer than others, but it's really one general topic. And that's what the Rock and Metal Reset is about. It's just about hosting conversations and examining different experiences. It's not really about being right or wrong, but this is about us as a band being able to share our education and experience as a band with other bands. We're not prioritizing, we don't host the responsibilities of a venue to take care of bands in the way of booking bands or paying them. That's why we're not making promises. We're not talent buyers. We're not music moguls. We're not a signed national act. We're just another local band. We're just another small band. We're an independent band. And at this level, there aren't a lot of shit, if there's any actual independent bands that are talking about this these days. And we have our suspicions why that is. But without further ado, let's hear for those who don't know, to get updated with the events at Blue Ridge. Hopefully the idea and the conversation of Blue Ridge will help us understand a wider view of the business model of large festivals and what makes it difficult.
Okay. Do you want me to read a couple of comments?
Yeah, I just want to absorb.
So, this is from Miss Nicole, and she goes, I need a refund. This is absurd. We were turned away yesterday due to severe weather when it was sunny.
It's a Friday night?
Yeah.
So
it was the Friday night. Just for them to continue the festival and then cancel the next day. So that would have been Saturday they canceled.
Yes. So for those that don't know, there was inclement weather on Thursday night and during the festival, and we live in New England, so we'll be the first to tell you, you can't control the weather. Mm-hmm. I think the convenient and obvious excuse for litigation purposes and lawsuits and insurance, this is a legal issue. So I would imagine that if you didn't want to be liable, you would say a hurricane ate my homework. You would say that I'm not in control of the weather, and that's why Blue Ridge had so many events that people were disappointed or unhappy or unsatisfied with. But that's the misunderstanding about why we cover it here on this page. We cover Blue Ridge, and we've been covering Blue Ridge for 3 years on this page because of artist submission fees. Did anybody know that? So there's a lot of people that don't know that. So when we talk about Blue Ridge, I think the general idea is that, and I think the convenient idea is that we're talking about the fucking weather. Because I think that to some people that's the narrative for this year. But we've been studying Blue Ridge. I don't mean covering Blue Ridge. I mean studying it, courtroom by courtroom. We've been studying Blue Ridge since 2019. We studied Danny Wimmer, we study South by Southwest, and we nerd out on this shit. Mm-hmm. So we study the owners, we study their business models, we watch them in their court cases, we read the minutes in each court case. When they don't pay their bartenders, our band is watching.
Yeah.
That's whoever you are out there. If you didn't know that about us, that's us.
We study festivals. We
study bands. We study
entertainment. We study musicians.
We study the internet.
We study what the band does, what the band is.
Right,
we
we study the modern day internet. We study banking. We study crypto. We study accounting. That's what Sepsiss does. As a feature of what me, Melissa, and Lexi do for the Reset is learning about big corporations and what they do in the music industry. And then we take that information in real time. We study it 24 hours a day. So if anybody wants to learn week in and week out what's going on with Facebook, what changes there are on X, what new currencies that come out, what new video games, this is the podcast you want to be on. This is it.
Because we'll talk about it.
Because we'll talk about it.
So we'll explain it.
And we'll explain it to you. If you want to know what's going on in music, if you want to know how to get your music licensed, if you're kind of foggy about scams and schemes, this is the place you come talk about it. So that's what the Reset is about. It's not really about Spotify or Blue Ridge. What it is that Blue Ridge does $75 artist submission fees.
To maybe get played.
So it's not paid. It's not, and a lot of people don't know this. Fans don't know this, and this is why we make this information available. That's what this podcast is for.
Is to talk about.
Is to talk about these things. So for those that don't know, and a lot of other big festivals have pay-to-play Ponzi schemes too. A lot of people, DW is not out of the crosshairs in this too. They have their own version of donations and Twitch submissions, and anytime that you're giving money or votes or favors or some form of tokens or bits or coins or submissions or currency, anytime that there's a form of payment for you to perform your talent, that's pay to play. That's pay to play. Be it through means of Twitch, be it through means through stars on Facebook, and having your family, everybody getting together and paying lots of money in Twitch subs to get your band noticed. That's paying money to the promoters to participate. And the promoters, the general idea is lots of promoters have different versions of this. Blue Ridge, as I just explained, that Twitch Ponzi scheme. And what they do is, there's no limit to amount of submissions or number of amount of bands that can submit or donate. So any given band could, submit 2 years in a row or 3 years in a row to pay and maybe not play. So it's not even pay to play. It's actually worse than pay to play. It's
right.
Pay to maybe not play at all. And they'll say it's a submission. They'll say this is a submission or a donation. So the idea is we're going to do a band battle. Okay? There's 12 bands. We all go over to Twitch. We tell all of our friends and family to share the art. We do all the promotion. We do all the grunt work for the social media images. You know, these big companies, they give you a flyer, they put you on a flyer, they put her on a flyer. Everyone's going to be big rock stars. You know what I'm saying? And then they get everybody together. Everybody shares it. Then we all go on Twitch. I tell 30 of my friends. She tells 100 of her friends. We all, you know, band battles are terrible. Local bands won't do a band battle if you ask them. They'll tell you it's a bad idea. Local bands know that.
Oh, no. Battle for Warped Tour and Battle for...
That's different. Battle for celebrities is different.
That used to be the big thing.
But that
was a better Ponzi scheme.
Okay, but bands won't battle for Swarmy Fest. 2 reasons. We're a local band, and we wouldn't ask our neighbors to fight to play music with us. We're not better musicians than our neighbors.
Right.
Our bands that are in New England that are our neighbors are just as good as us. I would never insult them by inviting them to battle to play at my show. So that's rule number 1. I wouldn't ask anybody to battle to play along with me at a show because I believe that professional musicians should be hired professionally, like professional musicians. Right. And you don't see Korn battling Disturbed.
No.
You never see Spirit Box battling Paramore.
Because why?
Yeah.
Professional bands don't battle each other.
Right.
So if your whole goal is to authenticate yourself as a professional band, why would you then behave unprofessionally by battling your neighbors for a shot to be authenticated to who? To who? Who? My neighbors in New England don't have to prove to me that they're awesome. They're awesome because I've been playing with music with them for over a decade. You feel what I'm saying? Like, if I was looking for a professional musician, I'd hire them professionally. But, so the idea is, you know, you get 20 of your friends, you get 30 of your friends, you've got 40 of your friends, we all go over to a Twitch, and we have a band battle. Even though, you know, I would never ask you to battle to play in my show. And celebrity bands, B-leaguers don't battle each other and go to band battles. So if these are our heroes and these are the people we want to be like, so the same thing with Twitch, virtually. I mean, it's just another scheme. Anytime you see people giving up tokens or fees or currency to play music, that's a form of pay to play. So if we're in a virtual band battle and there's 36 bands, right? And the way to get the attention of the promoter is for your family to give Twitch subs. These cost money, bro. These donations and bits and subs and stuff like that, in order to get their attention and hit all the twinklies, you hear sometimes it goes off over here. People give us stars or different stuff. It goes bing, 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 whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's people giving us tokens or donations or whatever. Mm-hmm. People don't give us donations to play music with us. We play music with bands for free.
Right.
We play music with bands, and we're not even promoters. We pay the bands that come and play with us. So, whatever happened to just hiring professional bands and paying them to play the gig? See, the business model of all, it done bit you in the ass. And this is what we're talking about when we're talking about music lotteries and casinos. Because what happens is how many bands do you think submit to something like South by Southwest or Blue Ridge or a Danny Wimmer show or whatever? Like, how many?
Probably a lot.
I get 12 families in a Twitch, and I get 12 families, you know what I mean, fighting for their daughters and their sons in bands. I get, 12 families in a Twitch feed, all doing bits, all doing subs, all pushing with their heart, believing. Mm-hmm. All the bands are great. All the bands are good. And we all know Battle of the Bands is not a battle of guitars. It's a battle of popularity.
Yep.
And paying people. The people that pay the most and the people with the most popularity in social media and the bands that are willing to lie, cheat, steal, and trample over their neighbors are the ones that they choose. Mm-hmm. We all know that, right? So who are the noble bands that are going to be playing Blue Ridge 2024? Who are all the noble bands that are going to step up and play? The pre-sale tickets are already out. Did you guys know that?
I did see that.
Pre-sale tickets are already out for Blue Ridge 2024.
And they're already sold out. Every single
How?
package possible is already sold out.
And this
All of
is
them.
this is on topic. You know Firefest is back too?
Isn't that the one that like
Bro,
had 2 documentaries about how like
It's back.
fucked up it was?
it's back. He just got out of prison. And the tickets are on sale.
Oh, I hope people know not to go.
Wait, what? What happened?
Think if you beat up a bunch of little kids and then you got out of prison, like, you know what? I'm gonna open a preschool. No, think about that. Think about you cooking puppies and, you know, cutting the heads off of fucking squirrels. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, you know what I mean? And somebody sends you up. You know what I mean? And okay, you do your time, you rehabilitate, you come down off the mountain. Here you are, right? You fill in an application at Petco. You think you're gonna get?
I said, I hope not.
No!
How the fuck is this possible?
No.
Yeah.
No.
So, anyways, I want to move because I do know that Taylor and the other gentlemen is going to call hopefully about their experiences at Blue Ridge. I don't know to the extent it's kind of a wild card, but I just wanted to say that if you just look back the years of having Blue Ridge, you know, people get mad a lot of times because we talk about the $75 submission fee. That's our big point with the Blue Ridge thing. Not the hurricane, not the trash, not the not the blow torches and the long lines
The
and
worker strike.
Right, the worker strike or the elderly people standing outside in 100-degree weather. These aren't half of the thing. For us, we were just talking about simply like having each and every year having. I mean, how many people do you think submit to Blue Ridge? Everybody, put it in the comments. It's a big festival. How many independent bands do you think they're making Korn and them do $75 submission fees?
No, but they're probably not getting paid either.
Well, that's a whole nother. I'd love to hear somebody come on and talk about that.
Right.
But seriously, though, so how many independent bands this year do you think filled out submission fees for Blue Ridge? Because I'm going to tell you something right now. It's probably going to piss a lot of people off. We did not do a submission fee this year. And people are probably like, wow, well, that's fucked up. Because why?
Didn't.
And so here's the reason why me and Melissa keeps talking about it. Because people are probably like, oh my God, then why you guys keep talking about the submission fee? And that's because we did. We put, and this is why I'm always reaching out to other bands. Years ago, me and Melissa put the submission fee in for $75, and we did not get chosen, which is okay. And a lot of people will say to us, why are you guys so mad about the $75? Why don't you just chalk it up to the wind? You know what I mean? What's the big deal? And that's the attitude in music, is what's the big deal when musicians get ripped off? That's the big deal, is the attitude that it's not a big deal, that musicians can pay and maybe not play. But what really got me going was, wait a minute, what if there's 3,000 people that submitted, though? Wait a minute. How much is 3,000 times 75?
Travis is looking for the number to call.
We'll call you.
Times 3,000, right?
Yep.
That is 225,000.
Good God.
That's $250,000.
That's
Yeah.
just off of submission fees.
That's $250,000. That's just, and that, look, I was being nice. That's $250,000. Now look, but that is only 1 year, everybody.
Right.
We're not talking about, that's every year that Blue Ridge has been operating. This is just one festival. I know we keep saying Blue Ridge, but think if every time I have a Twitch feed and I have 12 new bands in there with 12 new families all doing fucking subs. Holy shit.
And that's not even like
Bro,
the
we
vendors.
work. I'm telling you, we've made a living off of Twitch before. Just Twitch.
I believe it.
I mean,
It's nuts.
this is an astronomical amount of money.
It's nuts. It's nutty gumdrops.
Right. So you know what I mean? And the people that do the biggest and the most subs and do the most social media promo, naturally the algorithm will only let these companies push out so much. So the idea is, I mean, if you hire 400 bands and arm them to the teeth with fucking promo and fucking, you know, flyers, and you make everybody look like fucking rock stars, and you set up a cool stage in the parking lot, give them a bologna cheese sandwich.
That's
Is it fried
happened
bologna at least?
Yeah. So my problem is how the $75 stacks up every year. And no, I confess we haven't paid that $75 because we're too smart for that. I think only an idiot would pay $75 over and over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Every year.
So I must confess we're not as stupid enough to pay $75 every single year. But we did the 1 year, and when we made the mistake, me and Melissa promised each other that from that point on, it was so humiliating that we would do everything in our power to teach and educate other bands what it is about. So that's our deal with that. But let's go find out what other people's deal is with Blue Ridge. Who should we call first? Taylor.
Yeah.
We'll call the
Call Taylor.
Chris said, let's do our own festival. We need to stand up to these promoters.
We are.
And that was a personal phone call from my homeboy Chris from After the Winter. You know we're not playing. This is what I mean about bands standing up, though. See, magazines need bands. Blogs need bands. Venues need bands. Promotion packages need bands. Spotify's need bands. iTunes need bands. Merch companies need bands. Bands don't need any of you. Bands need fans. And fans need bands. And fans and bands can stand up to all these fucking pukes. And we fucking run them over. Bands need fans. And fans need the bands. The fans, they understand the value behind us being the soundtrack to their lives and their memories and moments. Nah, it's the corporate world that doesn't understand that value. It's the corporate world that wants to replace our voices with synthetic voices. So let's speak a little louder.
Hell yeah.
Let's speak a little louder. Okay, Lex, we're going to call...
I thought we were going to call Taylor.
We are. That's what we're doing.
Okay.
Here you go. You might need to lean in. Lean it. This is Taylor from Chase Green Life. She also does a podcast.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the Honeycomb Hideout.
Woo!
How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
You're great. You know, relaxing after that festival.
Yo, we
Oh
want
my
to hear all about it.
Yes. Tell us the story.
So I went Wednesday. I live about 2 hours. So we left at like 5 a.m. and got there around a.m. It only took us an hour to get in. So there was like a long wait line apparently, but it only took us an hour.
Okay.
And it was extremely hot. Like, it was 100 degrees, and there wasn't a lot of places you could get water, so we ran out of water pretty fast.
That's not
Wait,
good.
there wasn't a lot of places for you to get water?
So the closest water station was about 20 to 30, minutes, and we had to walk there.
Oh my god.
Oh, wow.
It's at a raceway, so it's a huge racetrack, and there's not a lot of, shelter. So, people just didn't want to leave. And then Thursday, it was good. Thursday until, in the afternoon, a random storm hit. It came out of nowhere. We weren't, it wasn't on the radar or anything, and it was, tornado winds. That was weird. It was hail. All canopies are flying everywhere.
Oh, my God.
Tents are flying. People are traveling in the water because there were shows happening. So they canceled that event, and then a lot of people left because they were cold. Because
how did people get out of there? Were they walking out of there, or were they taking the shuttle buses?
Packing all their stuff and just leaving. They were allowed to leave. So they just left, and then there were people still partying. Nope, like a lot of people didn't leave. A lot of people just kind of survived together, and yeah, like
that was kind of the good part about it, right? Like like some people told me that was like the high point, is everybody like kind of coming together. I guess some of the bands were singing acoustic songs and cooking hot dogs.
That wasn't until like Saturday.
Okay, so this is still okay. All right, on my bad. So this is still
No. So all those like campers were all coming together, hanging out. There was like a ton of beer pong. Everyone was help cleaning up. Because people's stuff, like their canopies and food, got damaged. So lucky for us, we were able to get help from our neighbors.
How many people? How many people was you with? Just.
I was. We were in a group, but the other group left because of all their stuff got cold.
Right.
But I stayed until Saturday when they were kicking people out.
Did you have another change of clothes or something? Like, how did you?
I mean, my stuff honestly was in my tent, so it didn't get wet.
Wow.
Lucky for me, but you could like hang your stuff out. So a lot of people were just hanging their shit out when the sun was up, so they could dry their stuff.
And it's hot. And it's hot as hell. So
yeah, it was hot as hell. The festival started. It was great. Except for there was a lot of people, more than I expected.
Yeah, they said a lot of folks said it was oversold. Do you feel that?
Yeah, I heard that it was supposed to be 50 or 100, but it was like 150.
Wow.
Good Lord.
Is that over capacity?
Yeah, and the reason why people got like stuck in shuttles and long lines was because the staff was getting sick.
We're getting sick?
Yeah, no, I didn't know any of this information until Saturday. So, I was experiencing like the highs of festivals. Like I didn't know that there was a problem.
Was this your first time at Blue Ridge? No, right?
Yes.
Oh, well, okay,
yes.
all right. So for you, this is like
years prior, they had a problem with the camping. It was the I guess the porta potties and stuff. But the thing about that is the porta potties weren't even disgusting. Not until like if you were stuck outside the festival, they were disgusting. But inside, everything was clean.
That's honestly, that's the first time I heard that. That's good. That's a good thing. I want to say, just for the record, anything good about this is good. Right. I want to make that. I want to make that clear. Like, I mean, I think a lot of times people go on the internet or on social media and they're just trying to look for anything awful to say about someone or something. But I want to point out that it's really good when we can say good things. I don't think that we should have a short opportunity. So if there's anything else good about this, I think that says a lot.
Yeah, like this festival, 2019, it's still kind of new. Like I'm not saying it wasn't a shit show. That's fucked, dude. It's horrible what happened.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how do you feel to people who felt that it was because most people feel it was a nightmare? What would you say to those people?
I'm torn because I was able to survive it. I was prepared.
Would you tell them to toughen up a little bit? You think people a little soft?
Yeah.
Would I have hung with you?
I felt sick. I did feel sick because of the water. Like I felt like I was getting heat stroke, but I kept drinking water and I kept staying hydrated. Like I had like a bunch of liquid IVs. I ate pickles. So like
it seems to me like you used a lot of common sense.
I mean, yeah. If you look at the weather, it says it was supposed to rain. So it rained last year, and the only problem that I had was definitely there was not enough like places to like get away from the sun. That should have been a plus. More water stations, because they were long lines.
I like the fact that you know what they like. I like that you've basically made a common sense personal inventory of practical organization skills. Being prepared on your own, I think, was really helpful to you. But you seem to also know what type of shorthand adjustments that could be made to just make this safer, to make it a little bit more comfortable. It just doesn't seem like you're honestly.
I mean, other people had really bad experiences, like I was lucky enough, but I mean, my camera because I have a podcast, I was actually going to go out there and take pictures, got damaged Thursday.
Oh.
Oh no.
So,
Sorry to hear that.
like, I lost a big piece of my equipment, and I bet a lot of people did too. And I mean, it's disappointing, but like, I could have brought something to cover it. I shouldn't have, like, you know. But I mean, other people probably just were there to have fun and just weren't thinking.
What did you see? Did a lot of bands, did their gear survive the weather too?
I heard Thursday that a lot of people's equipment got messed up, but I didn't see it because soon as when it started getting bad, they told us to leave. So I think they just didn't like let people in because they ran out of space.
Yeah.
And they couldn't accommodate all the people, all the long lines.
So did you stay for the whole thing?
I stayed until Saturday night.
What made you leave Saturday?
One, there wasn't food. The porta potties weren't being cleaned towards the end because the trucks couldn't get out.
Those are two very good reasons.
So, and I mean, everybody was partying at that point. Like, they just said, fuck it.
For you, was it just like party over type of thing? I'm hungry, I'm trying to get home.
I mean, I wasn't, but my group, they kind of were done at that point, which I get because apparently, like, people were setting fire to things.
Oh.
They're setting fire?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, okay, so there's a picture where it's like Blue Ridge before and after. So
I didn't see the fire
that
one.
storm took up all these broken canopies.
That's
So
like
you can't
some
pull
Woodstock stuff.
canopies back together.
I've always the collection of broken pop-up canopies seems to be like the big online image that I get in my mind.
The storm
Looks like
picked
Daddy
up.
Longlegs,
You
just
didn't,
like
bring sandbags, your stuff was gonna fly away. Cause it says that in the email too, that like the stuff you have to bring to make sure you're good. So a lot of canopies were still functioning.
So before we go, I'm gonna take somebody else too. We definitely got to get up on your podcast. I'm excited. But before you go, hopefully we can make plans for that. But I wanted to get your idea on, because it seems like you survived it really well by being prepared and having some common sense. And I appreciate you coming on, having like a fair and like you had an observable experience that you could share with us. I know there's a lot of rumors and goofy stuff, but one thing we know that isn't a rumor and that's off topic. If Blue Ridge survives, the pre-sale tickets are up for 2024. What do you think about that?
I would not until they get it together. If you expect to not live in like shit and squalor, don't buy tickets. If you don't it's just like a new festival. Like, they're starting from the ground up. In my opinion, it's not going to be good.
I appreciate that. I feel like I feel the same way. I feel similar. Like, I think they should probably. I don't want to say what I think because I don't want nobody to go along with me. But I'm going to say it anyway. So I think that they should hold off. I think when I talk strongly about Blue Ridge and festivals like it, because I'm not just targeting or singling them out. But new festivals that have the business model of all bands, all days, all your money, all the weather on your fucking head. You know, I think the idea that I would have is pre-litigations. I think they should finish up with if there are any like legal to clean their plate legally.
Yes.
And then of course all those refunds, you know, I mean that's
Yes.
you know, maybe make good somehow on this refund stuff before going pre-sale. That's all I was gonna say.
People's equipment and they're like, man, it was so hard. Like, living out there was hard. It wasn't easy.
Wow. Yeah, I know there's people that are making these like I survived Blue Ridge 2023 shirts.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
everyone was just partying and surviving all together.
I like that story though of everybody. I know this is horrible and romantic, but the story of like this thing crashing to the ground and all the fans and the bands like huddling together. And I mean, there was rumors. I don't know how far this goes, but you know, some of the security I guess had to leave or whatever the case is. And there's pictures of like people with like doing like blowtorch dabs and people with knives and shit. I mean, just the kind of stuff that you don't usually see at really large festivals.
They did not search for anything. They just kind of look around and they're like, "You're good."
That's crazy.
Wow.
Wowza.
Wow. Okay. Cool. All right. This is the last one. If Blue Ridge survives, I believe that there's another way for independent artists to participate in this thing. And I'm a quality over quantity guy. But, I mean, what the hell? Can we get rid of the $75 artist submission fees? Do you think that's fair?
I believe it should be affordable to all artists. I believe everyone should contribute. But no, like, you shouldn't make bands, you know, if you know who you're going to add, don't, like, get the money. Like,
I mean, because some bands, right? Because if you have a model that's pay to maybe not play, right? And
like, I think that's ridiculous. I think you know.
like, there's pay to play, and that sucks on its own. Like, pay to play is kind of, you know, I've been in a band I'm one of the older guys in these bands. I'll be 43 this year. And, you know, there's a big portion of my career. I paid my dues, and I did a lot of paying to play my whole life. You know what I mean? And that sucks on its own, but then the whole pay to maybe not play at all is a whole new strategy.
I believe that we should give locals a chance, especially because Richmond, because I'm from Virginia.
Yeah.
There was a lot of local businesses and bands that were there.
Yeah.
A lot of everyone from North Carolina and Virginia played and opened, and like from the band Fight From Within and Heartsick. Those are all local bands, and I believe everyone should have an opportunity. I don't think you should charge the bands. I think you should try to at least give some opportunity to the local bands.
There's got to be another way to do it. I'm not saying that they shouldn't pitch in or help out or maybe do some work. I mean, even Warped Tour, you know, you had to kind of fold up backdrops and help take out trash or whatever. I just, you know what I mean? The idea that bands can return year over year over year over year, or maybe if they do like a single $75 submission and then their submission is retroactive, you know, throughout the years of the festival, that'd be great. But an ass over tea kettle, $75 every single year. What about the bands that they never because there's no saying like the average guy that does karaoke. I mean, he can submit. Your grandmother can submit. How do you know how do you know a person? You know, all you need is an email to submit. If you have an email,
I believe you should do contests on social media. Honestly, and see like the most bands that have the most tagged people that want them on. I think that's a way to know what bands should be on there, not just anybody, you know.
And at least there's draw, right? At least there's human beings backing them up.
Yes, use social media because that's
because if you have pay to play, don't if it's pay to play, don't just rich people get to play then?
Yeah, that's messed up.
You know, if it's paid, you know, right? If it's pay to play, people with money and bullets win, not people that people that play well.
Because, not a lot of bands have the money flowing. Like
shouldn't bands that are qualified and play good music and have fans, they should play. People that are qualified.
Yes. And that's what Blue Ridge was supposed to be about. The fans experience.
I love that fan-driven experience. I always love that idea. But when you start fucking over the fans, it doesn't feel right.
No, there's still people that are like, I'm going to go. And I'm like, I wouldn't, because you are literally paying into something that's not good right now. That's not good for bands. Like, the equipment was falling apart. Like, it was a mess. I
want to thank you for coming on because you were transparent and you were forward. You spoke eloquently and assertively, and you described, you know, your experience in a way that I could learn something about it myself. So I appreciate you spending the time.
Yeah, I enjoyed talking. I'm gonna go back and watch it because you guys are awesome.
yo, thank you so much. Send us a message and get up with us soon, okay?
All right, goodbye.
Goodbye. Good night. Wow, she was really awesome, dude. Like, what do you guys think? Like,
I agree with her. And
I have kind of a new flavor too.
I agree with her. I agree with her that, like, this is a new festival. It is starting from the ground up. Same with Rocklahoma, or
She had such
same
a
with
well.
Louder Than Life. Like,
Oklahoma's been going on for
or
a while.
I forget which one it is. It's another one that's
That
by
is
Benny
the
Woman
most
Presents,
even
but-
eye-to-eye account
yeah.
that
Yeah.
we have heard. That is the first conversation
Yeah.
Yeah.
we have heard anybody have about it. So we've seen like posts, we've seen rants,
Yeah.
but her being able to absorb the questions and deal with the humanity around the table, I feel like she really handled her story authentically, and she didn't pull from other people's experiences the way we all do as human beings. We all do,
did
you know what I
just
mean? We
herself.
all do that,
Yeah.
you know? We see somebody in pain and we want to go, we attach ourselves to it.
Right.
And we make trauma bonds. You know? Let's see this other call. Now I'm curious to like,
But, like,
does anybody
I
have
do
anything to
agree.
say?
It
I'm
is,
blown
like-
away. That was fun.
It is a new like festival, so of course there's gonna be like some issues, or there's gonna be some things that they need to figure out.
I went from burn it to the ground to let's make some adjustments and just stop the pay to play thing.
Right.
Yeah, definitely adjustments need to be made.
I mean,
for sure.
the hurricanes you can't stop, but sometimes it takes something natural. You know, it takes law, justice. Sometimes it takes the law, takes the laws of nature to come in and blow in and rain on your parade for everybody to kind of go, hey, here's how we can make it better. You know what I mean? So it's not always about let's finish it and that's the end of it and let's have a witch hunt. I think our big cry has always been, sure, these things are awesome how they're advertised. They're advertised as the fan experience. You know, they're advertised as everyone gets a little bit of everything. Let's hear what our next friend has to say. Could be different. We don't know. Wow. What do you think, Lex?
It's fun to hear their stories.
I'm glad I wasn't there.
Right.
We would have left.
Oh, for sure.
If we were a band and we were playing there, me and Zach would have packed it up. Hello? Hey, how's it going, man?
How's it going?
Ew.
Hey.
Welcome to the Honeycomb Hideout!
Thanks, guys.
Woo!
Yeah, that's Lexi, and she says woo.
Woo, yeah, I've been watching you guys for about the past hour.
Woo! That's awesome!
Hey, thanks for being patient, man.
No, man, it is all good, all good. So what do y'all want to know?
Tell us your story.
Well, I mean, this whole thing. So I just heard Taylor, and I'm back down to earth now. I really am. It's funny when you actually can hear, the emotion and the excitement and the highs and lows. I feel like Taylor. That was her first time at Blue Ridge too. So she had her individual experiences. Was it your first time going to a festival like that? Regardless, or
No, this is our fourth time going to a festival of that size, but it was our third year in a row going to Blue Ridge.
oh, see that? Yeah, that's what I want.
Give us everything! You're
Are
a vet!
never going back.
Oh, you said he's wait. What'd you say?
We are never going back.
Oh my gosh!
Never
Tell us
going back.
why!
But that is a large, because I just sat here. As much shit I talk about, I hate artist submission fees. I hate everything pay to play. This band is like 100% on a mission to end all forms of pay to play. We believe that under no circumstances should musical artists pay.
I don't think you guys should have to pay to play either. And it wouldn't surprise me that some of the bigger venues use y'all's money to bring in the big bands, to book them.
I
Because
thought that.
all the bands are paid up front.
Mm.
Oh.
Interesting.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they use y'all's $75 admissions for all, you get 300-400 bands that submit.
It would make a good chunk of change for legal fees.
Yes.
Just saying. That's good litigation money year over year.
Secure an attorney.
All right, so, I mean, so if I was a detective, and I'm not, but if I was, I would say, so, you know, I mean, this, you're never going back, and I'm sure that's because this weekend.
It was.
But outside of a culmination of events this weekend, I would say that your experience must be tolerable, or you are a very ambitious guy because you've gone to the festival 3 times. So why was it fun before?
In 2021, when we went, it was a shit show, but it was a lot more feasible.
What happened in 2021? Give me some stuff.
2021, we show up, we go through security. Security opens up the vehicle. They search a couple of things. They go over the contraband list. Your normal security checks.
Yeah,
that's good though, right?
Right. That was nice.
Yeah.
And they tell us, all right, so hop back in your vehicle, drive down this road. There's going to be somebody down there to guide you where to park your vehicle and set up your tent. So for the next 2 hours, we drove around and tried walking around trying to find somebody to tell us where to go. We could not find a single person back there to tell us where to camp.
Oh.
Whoa.
That was issue number 1.
Yeah.
And they didn't have the camping store that they were supposed to have built out there for off-site camping because that's where we had picked the camp that year.
What is that
So
for? Like
no
a
general store.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Like a lot of campgrounds have
your drinks, your
batteries and shit.
batteries, your showers, things, all that.
Which seems
That
crazy
wasn't
because
out
they
there.
would have made $1 billion trillion off
yeah,
of that.
no shit.
Good. Well, yeah, for the people that are crazy enough to spend the prices on it.
I know.
The
Somebody
bottle of
told me a
water
piece of
this year
pizza.
was $10.
Yeah, I was gonna say somebody.
$10.
A piece of pizza, 2 pieces of pizza was somebody said was $22.
What?
Yeah.
That's
No, they will sell
disgusting.
whole pizzas out there for $80. A
What?
whole pizza.
What?
$80,
That'd be
and you
the
get 4
best
slices
damn
out
pizza
of it
I've
because
ever
they're
had.
huge pizzas.
Now, do you bathe in pizza? I mean, because it must clean your soul. This must be the kind of
I
pizza.
mean, it's good. It's outrageous.
All right, so we're
ridiculous.
and
This is
so
the essence
in
of
Blue Ridge 2021. What was the thing that you walked away from in Blue Ridge 21 where you were like, oh man, I don't know about 22?
Honestly, the location that first year, because they moved to a new location that year, so it was like they were building from the ground up. He bought a bunch of farmland. So day 1, we missed 80% of the bands because it was a 3.5 mile walk from our tent to the festival grounds.
Whoa.
Oh.
They did not have the shuttles in place like they were supposed to. And when they did get them in place, it was 2 Sprinter vans that hold 9 to 10 people,
What?
cramming them in. They didn't bring the school buses in until day 2.
Oh my god.
No, that's
So we
difficult.
walked
That's
all the
difficult.
way there that day. We missed all the bands we really wanted to see except for a couple of headliners. And we walked all the way back that night.
Oh,
6 miles just to go and see bands.
you must be really fit.
And and these are all back roads in the middle of nowhere. There was one log that we could sit on and catch a break in that entire walk. And we had said, well,
Were there other people
Once-
at the log? Like when you got
there were a couple of other people sitting there.
you know what I mean?
But
Like,
it's literally enough to maybe hold 6 to 7
a good
people
question,
sitting
right?
on this
That's
log.
a good
Wow.
question.
Wow.
that's like the checkpoint log. It's like
Right.
everyone's
Yeah,
gonna
that's
remember.
what it was. It was sitting right next
a
to a
little
stop sign. It was
temporary camp.
like the halfway point, honestly.
Wow.
All right, so and after you got your ass kicked in 2021, because honestly that sounds horrible. What made you go back though? Like, were you just like, you know what? I love
So,
rock and roll. I got some
with
free
the fact-
tickets.
With the fact that we thought it was their first setup at that venue,
It's a
It
fluke.
will be better next year because by day 2, what we went through on day 1 was
Doesn't the
complete
guy
180.
step down every year though? The guy, he's like, I'm stepping down. He comes. He's
So, yeah. So after 2021, he got death threats, and he quit messaging people on Facebook. Now other people look at his stuff. He's hiding behind his grandfather's name is what he's doing. His grandfather owns the Blue Ridge Rock Festival rights, property, and all that, but he's not the one that's running it. It's still Jonathan Sly.
Gotcha. Okay. And
So we thought 2021 was just a bad year because a new venue. So we opted to go again that following year,
right.
thinking it would be better because we seen the improvements over the weekend. We could see that, hey, they're getting on the right track. It's going to be better next year.
I appreciate you saying that because I was worried about getting people in here just saying bad things about stuff. That's not, you know what I mean? That's not helpful to know.
It's going to get bad.
Okay.
It's going to get really bad.
All right. Let me get it.
2022, I think overall we had a pretty successful year. Water was an issue, but we always go prepared after our first camping experience.
So this is a camping experience, though. I mean,
Yes.
to think it's. I mean, especially for people camping, I don't feel like it's unrealistic to be thoroughly prepared. I think that if
Mother
you
nature is going to take its course. She's
yeah,
gonna do what she
yeah.
wants.
So some of these
You
guys,
know,
I got to be honest with
there's
you.
no way around it.
Right. Okay. So nothing. So 22 was a great year, really. So that was
2022 was a pretty evened out year. We seen a lot of improvements compared to the year before.
I appreciate you saying that, man.
Nice.
Now we go to this year. So
So you get up at 5:30 in the morning. You got your stuff right.
we leave at 8:00 at night and drive 12 and a half plus hours.
Oh shit!
Oh my god.
Yo, you're like a band. Are you sure you weren't performing? You should have been performing, man.
That's our drive. We left from Memphis.
Oh,
Oh,
my
shit.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
man.
a
You know all about
drive.
monsoons and
And yeah. Our weather out here gets pretty intense too. It's like June 25th, we had a storm roll through here, and it took out half of our house.
Oh my god.
Good God.
Like, we're still dealing with getting it all put back together. That's why Blue Ridge is our getaway for the year. We have 5 kids, and we can go out there and not have any responsibilities for those days. And I don't mean to say that in a bad way.
Well, I think you know what I thought though. I'm gonna be honest with you. What I thought is a lot of people like yourself. A lot of people have really been depending on something like this. You know, money's tight. It's not like it was 10, 15 years ago where you can go out weekend warrior every couple weekends. So now families, especially guys like me, you know, I'm in my early 40s, mid 40s. You know what I mean? And I can only afford to go out a couple of times a year and support a couple big concerts. So it's like somebody like me, I really got to get prepared for something like that. So I'm counting on it to work. Is this a situation for you where like you feel that this is your big thing you're doing for the year and you need it to work?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for being honest.
That's pretty much how we run that, yeah.
Okay, no,
So
that's
this is like the big vacation.
because I feel like that would hurt me more.
Yeah.
You know what? It would twist
Now,
a little bit.
Based to being out of Memphis, we do get some bands that come down here and we'll go and watch shows. But to see a lot of the bigger bands,
Right.
the festival is the way to go because it's cheaper.
It's like a flea market.
Right.
It's like
Right.
yeah.
You can go to
see
multiple
all of
Right, they
you
got-
can see all
right,
those
they got
bands
wigs
that you've
and
been
knives
watching
and
for
hats.
20 plus years.
Whoopee cushion.
And they're all in one place.
I understand that. Holy shit. All right, so what was it like pulling into this shit? I mean, were you excited? Were you like, were your hopes
we
through the
were
roof?
like
You're like, they got it squared away now. We've done it. We did it 21. We did it 22.
The past couple of years, we got in through security and set up camp relatively quickly. So we pull up into the line to get into security, and we were in that line for 9 hours.
Oh my
God
gosh.
Almighty.
I would have left.
That's
9
a whole
hours.
work
Yeah.
day.
We did not hit camp
As a band, I would have booked
until
us somewhere else down there.
11:30 that
Right.
night was when we found our
I was
camping
set
spot.
up in the
11:30 at night is when we found your camping spot.
Now,
It
was
took
it your
9
camping
hours.
spot though, or did you have? I mean, or did you just have to find one?
We were guided. We ended up getting ADA parking this year.
What is that?
And that's a whole nother mess.
Americans with
That's
Disabilities
disability parking.
Okay. So they took
from
care of you
1:30 to
on that
11,
though?
We sat in the car. No.
Oh, okay. That's kind of a big deal to me. Wow. I mean, if you were we have some fans that have disabilities, and we go all out for them.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I just don't know what I don't know what else to say.
No, and I appreciate that. You know, we got ADA. I've got degenerative disc disease in my back. My wife has neuropathy, and our campmate has a lot of health issues as well. So
I really
we all grouped
appreciate
together, and that's what we got.
I really appreciate you living hard, man, and going to see those bands like that. I really.
It's our getaway. Anytime that we can go to a concert that we want to go to,
that blows my mind.
That's when we can be who we want to be.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
I love you for that, man. That's awesome.
We will pick out an outfit for every day that we go, more or less for the headliner bands that night. All right, this is what I grew up listening to. This is what I wore around that time, and I go to that outfit.
Wow.
That is incredible.
Dude, that's fucking awesome.
That's how you experience.
All right, you're moving to New England.
That's how you go to a concert. That's how you do it.
We gotta move this guy up here.
That's freaking awesome.
Oh,
you guys
wow.
are so cool.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So we finally end up hitting camp that night and setting up in what light we have. And like I said, any other time we're normally there within an hour or two. We've got camp set up and we're going into the pre-party. We missed all of the pre-party on Wednesday. We spent that whole time in the car.
Oh, okay. All right.
So now we're jumping to Thursday.
But you're recuperating kind of too, though, right? A little bit, like
yeah. I mean, we were melting in the cars. Actually, the group behind us, they camped with us. We all met up at the Walmart out there, and they didn't have AC in their car, so I opted to hop out and swap seats with them so they could sit in our car that had air conditioning.
Oh.
Okay, you're the nicest guy in the
Right?
fucking world.
I mean, my wife got in the seat at one point when me and her were swapping seats, and she sat in the van the whole time, and she went to sit where I was sitting after I got in the van after sitting in their car for 2 hours, and it was a puddle from top to bottom of the seat. It was hot.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow, dude.
Thursday rolls around. We go in for a couple of other... we go in and see a couple of bands. We watched a little bit of CKY, and we watched all of Born Osiris' set. And we decided, okay, we don't have any other bands until 3 hours later. Let's go back to camp. It's too hot out here. We're going to die not having enough water. And we brought bottles of water, but you're only allowed to take in one bottle of water to refill at these quote-unquote refill stations that they have.
A refill station?
Yes.
Yeah,
that's where you're allowed to take your water bottle.
What, like a camping spigot or something?
Yeah.
Like a ground spigot?
In 2021, they had ground spigots. This year, I never even seen them. I know that there were two. You had one for everybody that could use, and then you had one in the VIP tent, which you couldn't get into unless you paid for the VIP package.
You had to pay VIP ticket for a garden hose ground spigot?
Pretty much.
An exclusive one.
For just
an exclusive.
VIP.
Like if we paid for VIP tickets, we could go into that tent and get water. But
I wonder,
VIP tickets.
I wonder if they had Dasani spigots. Did they have spigots with Dasani?
That shit should have been coming out with gold flakes in it.
I was gonna say. All right.
So we go back to camp, and I got this gorgeous shot of a double rainbow coming in. And then the tornadic weather hit.
Now,
60 mile an hour plus winds.
Now, are you part of the group of people who have combined the forces of nature with the really unprecedented forces of mistreatment, or, I mean, do you take this entire experience and make, shepherd's pie with it, or is it like you have a clear understanding of the heat and exhaustion, or do you? Some people I've realized really I feel have a valid approach to stitching in some of the natural circumstances with the experience that the festival actually controlled. Do you do that?
Right.
Do you feel that? Do you feel that no, you can't control the wind and heat, but you can prepare for it?
Yes, you can prepare for it,
Okay.
but you cannot control it. And every year that we go to these festivals,
You don't blame
we
them for that?
No, I
Good
do
for
not
you.
blame
Okay.
them for that.
Okay. I just want to make this clear on this particular podcast because I think, I don't know if you know us a lot, but we're always getting on these festivals, and I think some people think it's just Blue Ridge, and I think that some people misunderstand us and imagine that we're only looking for evil shit. But
No.
so I want to point out that anything that is good, I think it should be mentioned that it's good.
Right.
But, No,
100%.
okay. Thank you for letting me know that. So
No, you are. It's my pleasure.
the wind and hail come in and start kicking y'all ass, and so at this point you're not angry at Blue Ridge for this. Are you guys just terrified for your lives and that's that?
So
Or-
during that storm that was coming in, we make a tent city out there. Is what we do. We have 4 to 5 of us, and we meet up with a couple out there, and we build our own community.
Hey man, that
As you would
is right, and I'll tell you, man, this has been fun because that is exactly spot on in tandem with what Taylor was describing.
Yeah.
You know, people just kind of coming. Now, I like this part of the story. Forgive me.
It's a
for-
community.
Yeah, no, that's
It's-
great. Rockers
you
just coming
get-
together
you
and
get
being
all
like,
of us metalheads out there.
Yeah.
And we can look mean and violent. And,
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are just out here to cause trouble and this and that. But we're some of the nicest motherfuckers you'll ever meet.
this is my favorite part of the story, where everybody's holding hands, being like, if we're gonna get electrocuted, we're gonna do it.
We
We're gonna
had-
ride the
Together.
lightning.
We're gonna do
Actually,
it together.
right?
And there were I was sitting next to. This is as the storm
crazy.
was rolling in. I'm sitting 2 spots away from our camping spot, hanging out with some guys that we met out there. And the next thing I know, there's canopies flying up behind me from the campsite next to us.
That's
girls
the
that
one
were camping
site.
there.
That's
They
the one
didn't-
site, the image of the the image of the pop-up canopies that are tangled up like daddy long legs.
Yeah, there were
That's
theirs
crazy.
popped up because they didn't stake theirs to the ground. So we immediately grabbed what we could. We lowered everything that we could and
Smart.
protected their stuff. And then everybody else down that line was just getting hit. Our campsite itself, we lost 2 of our canopy tents.
Yeah, I'm from New Hampshire. We would have lost 2 human beings.
Yeah, it took 5 of us to hold down our big tent so it wouldn't go out anywhere. The
Lexi
stakes
would have
were being
blown
pulled
away.
out of the ground.
Our merch girl Lexi, she would have blown away. Now,
Yeah.
what was the I've got to know. What were the bands doing? Like when shit hit
So we were already outside at that point.
Yeah.
But you could hear over the speakers, and I heard some mumbling on one of them, and it said, we'll get you guys out the shelter when this passes. We'll come play again, and you hear a bunch of cheering. And that was the last thing I heard over the radio or over their speakers. One of the stages was struck by lightning. It fried all of their equipment. Five Finger Death Punch was headlining that night, and they had nothing left.
Oh my god!
Wow. That's crazy.
Oh, I hope they had insurance.
I'm sure they did.
There were people out there, and this is what really, really...
That's crazy. Dude.
They had no evacuation plan for anybody out there when this came in. They had no idea what to do. There were people out there getting pelted with hail in the middle of a field
So the part that
because they didn't know where to tell them to go.
I
They
felt
wouldn't start the buses for ADA and disability people. They had them standing outside. They filled up the buses, but they weren't running them. And there were still people standing next to the buses getting hit by this weather.
that is the stuff that made me. I was all right with the crazy stories. I was imagining myself and my band down there doing this, but and me down there as a fan watching and saying, what would I do? But I guess I wasn't really upset about the adventure until I heard about the old ladies and people outside with pacemakers and oxygen tanks.
There were people out there that were having strokes. And we heard, my wife read this, that there was a gentleman that had a stroke out there, and they got him outside the campgrounds.
Oh, that's too
And
bad.
that was as far as he got. He never got any emergency care, no nothing.
Oh, that's
my
really
God.
that's really too bad, man. I didn't hear that.
And I hate that for him.
Yeah, that's
Because
fucking
nobody
crazy.
should have to go through that.
I didn't hear that, man. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that now. And this is I got to catch up now. This is still the Thursday, right?
Yeah, this is just the Thursday.
So I just want to tell my partner Zach here because this is the beginning of the festival.
Right.
This is not
This is
even
day 2.
Oh my God.
This is just day 2. And people were already leaving at that point. There was actually a group of people that pulled up 10 minutes behind us, and after we got our camp set up, they didn't even make it 12 hours, and they went home.
It must have been much harder for the people like yourself coming from Memphis, people coming from New York. You know, if you were a band coming from God knows, you know, if you were a band coming from across the country, you know, and you weren't a fucking superstar. You know what I mean? You had your work cut out for you.
Right. And the bands out there, they had their work cut out for them. I actually tagged you guys in a video earlier today. His name's Tank the Tech.
Yeah.
And he's one of the studio, the manager guys that sets up, he's their tour manager
Yeah.
for Electric Callboy right now. And he did a 30-minute podcast earlier, and he talks about how they were completely mistreated.
Oh, you know what? I think
They
I
were
saw it.
promised air conditioning. They had no AC.
I'm gonna go watch it right after this.
They had no food. I mean, it was bad. The bands were promised food, and you've got band members not eating. You had security out there not getting water and passing out. I mean, the heat was brutal this year. We're kind of accustomed to it, but it kicked our ass.
And it, in your own opinion, because we're not lawyers or nothing like that. I'm just a band, you know. But in your own opinion, when you talk about the food and the preparation and the medical stuff, you're not talking about Mother Nature being responsible for that.
No, that's not Mother Nature being responsible at that point.
Okay, I just wanted.
They were out of first aid supplies minus Band-Aids on day 1.
Wow.
They already went through all their IV packs. They already went through anything that they could to help people. They already went through it on day 1 of a 5-day festival.
So I
That
mean,
has
you're a
nothing
lot,
to do with the weather. That's not being prepared.
and you are alive. I'm glad that you are. What happened with the rest? What happened with the rest of Gosh, into Friday. I mean, you lasted. Did you go for? You went for all? Did you go for all 3 days?
So we were planning. So we'll skip Friday. Friday was actually a pretty decent day, I think.
Everybody
on
says
everybody's
that.
part out
Everybody
there.
says
Friday
that,
was a
and I'm
really
glad
good
you said
day.
that.
Saturday we get up and it's already raining, and I wake my wife up at like 11:30 in the morning. I tell her, well, so far they postponed it because of the weather that's coming in. And after what we just went through Thursday, I was like, I don't blame them, because all we have left is what we have here, and then we're going to have to bail.
Do you think they should have pulled the plug right then and there? Hard to say, isn't it?
Well, I know why they did it and what they're... See, and I really can't answer that question justifiably with how I'm feeling
Okay.
and what I know.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah,
So,
yeah, and don't say anything you might change your mind about. You know.
right. I don't want it to seem like I'm taking sides with what I'm
No,
about to
because you've
get
done such a great job about not doing that.
Right.
I think I like your authenticity. Same thing. I was worried about the whole day of getting the wrong 2 people on here that were just gonna, slam festivals in Blue Ridge, but our general mission here is bigger than Blue Ridge.
Right.
So you're really coming on here addressing a wider issue that us as an independent band, we've been trying to get through to other independent bands, and that's the common sense of doing your homework
Right.
prior to signing up to this stuff. It's not making good guys or bad guys. And unfortunately, it takes a shitstorm, you know what I mean, for people
To
to
really
start.
bring up what's happening.
Yes, and so it's not really so much of a Blue Ridge bash. So I'm glad you presented it the way that you did, because it allowed me to reinforce what our real point here is, and that's really that artists should be doing their homework regarding this stuff. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Before
feel free, man.
How do you feel about, because our big business here is standing up for artists in the illegal act of payola, and like paying companies to be able to perform their original live music. How do you feel about artists submitting and giving Blue Ridge money year over year?
I don't think you should do it.
Okay. I just want to get
in
your
my opinion, I don't think you should be doing that anywhere.
Okay.
We are paying to see you guys.
Wow.
I don't think you guys should be paying to play for us to be able to watch you.
That's a very strong statement.
I like the way you said that.
Right.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were going to say that, but I really appreciate that. And
I mean, that's how I feel. If I'm going to go and see a band, I'm going to pay the money to go and see them, and you guys should not have to be spending out money that you're earning to go and play.
I just hope
somewhere.
I
understand venue fees and things like that. I understand
For sure.
those logistics behind it. But for you to say, okay, I'm going to give you money so I can play here, or a chance to play, I think it's bullshit.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because they'll be turning around and use that money for something else.
My hat goes off to you having the balls to say that, because that's not scripted. We've never had a conversation before. And I think sometimes our viewers, and I know my friends and family here, get frustrated because we feel, and sometimes we imagine, that people don't know that, or people don't feel like that. And I'll say things like, I think that artists should get paid when they're qualified to be hired and paid as professional entertainers. And if they're not good enough yet, then they should practice until they can build up the skill sets that talent buyers feel are qualifying to pay them. So I really appreciate that.
Right. No, I mean, we go and see bands, we have our headliners, and we go for the whole set. We will watch the people that we've never heard of. Because if we're not there doing that, you're not going to get known. You're never going to make it to a main stage. You're not going to be traveling all over the country, the world, and things like that. So we support whatever we can.
I think that says a lot. And you may not know this, but we get thousands of people that watch this program, and there will be thousands of people that heard that powerful statement that you just made, and there'll be bands that are small like us that hear what you just said, and you're going to breathe the life and energy and fire and hope, that we needed when we were starting out. That is a big deal.
And it's also, to be able to see that firsthand, too, is something amazing. My wife, she watched Shinedown open for Three Doors Down, the bigger bands, when Shinedown first came out. They closed out Blue Ridge Rock Festival in 2021. She got to grow up and watch them full circle as a nobody band, and watching them headline 15 years later.
That's freaking awesome.
To me, that's beautiful.
Right.
And a lot of people don't look at it that way. Krish Motionless stated out there at Blue Ridge this year when he played, they've gone to Blue Ridge the past 3 years too. The first year they were on a small stage, like the nobody stage.
I think people
And
forget
they
that
were
too, right?
Co-headlining this year.
Yeah, people forget that too. How, it only take a year or two of people, like yourself, going out there. Ken, I think that sometimes a lot of artists get discouraged because they think that there's nobody like you. So for you to come on this program and say that was like a big thing, because we're always telling people there's really people out there that like your music, and I think people get tired of me saying it. So I appreciate that, man.
Right?
Hey,
No. If I can get into it, I'm in it, and that's all it takes.
So, just so I'm not floating around too much. What was the big takeaway from this, man? Like, what was give me the best thing that happened? What was something that you could take away from this that really was great? And if there's anything, and what is give me 3 things you want to see happen if Blue Ridge was to survive, or would you just kill it?
Honestly, if it was to survive, they need a better infrastructure. Their infrastructure always seems to fail at some point every year.
Stronger infrastructure.
So you're saying logistics as a whole, like the blueprint, like the map, like they need.
All of it needs revamped. All of it.
Okay, cool. Like maybe even like a not a rebranding, so to speak, but what the interior, the
blueprint.
Right. How they need to do the security, how they need to do your check-ins, how you need to get people placed up for camp. You need to bring in more water for these people, because one of these years they're going to do it, somebody's going to die.
You're right. And nobody wants that. Step number 1, in my opinion, is anytime you're advertising all, you're going to get in trouble.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime that you have a natural sense of power, okay? Something powerful, like the fan experience of Blue Ridge, when you overstep that power and greed takes control.
And that's where I think that's where they've gotten, because their Blue Ridge themselves this year is trying to blame them canceling the festival to the weather, when everybody that was there can tell you that's a bullshit lie.
I think even responsibly, though, you guys are probably all going to hate me for this one, but I think responsibly, that's what their lawyers would tell them to do anyways. I'm not defending them, but
the health department came in and shut them down.
Woof. I wouldn't want to argue with them.
No.
But All right, so
that's number 1.
Right.
What about number 2?
We're gonna let you go here, but what's? Give me something great though. Did you stay for the like the parking lot performances and stuff like that?
We were actually packing up, and we walked down to the parking lot performance, but all you could hear was the crowd singing to the band, because they had no equipment. They were literally out there with a microphone and some guitars and no speakers. You were singing with the crowd.
Oh, okay.
And I appreciate the bands coming out and doing that, because they closed out a very, very shitty situation.
Yeah,
They didn't have to come out. They could have been like everybody else and said, no, we're leaving.
Okay.
But at that point, when we left Saturday, they had announced that they were canceling Sunday, and I didn't see us a point trying to weather out whatever storms may come through with what we have.
Oh, for sure.
We'll go and sleep in a bed for a couple of days, because we were sleeping on an air mattress in our living room still with the house.
Are you rested?
Situation.
Are you rested up now?
We're getting there. I mean, we came back and we got sick on the way home, so we're getting as rested as we can.
Well, listen, man, I really appreciate you saving up a little bit of energy for us, man. That is crazy.
No, man, I appreciate it. I've been waiting to hear something. I told my wife, I was like, this band wants to hear our story from Blue Ridge. And I've been sitting by it ever since Sunday when I got in touch with you guys.
Well, listen, I honestly, I appreciate it, that the highs and the lows. And it was nice for you to come on and make friends with everybody here. There's a bunch of us sitting around the table, so it was great.
It was my pleasure, guys. It really was.
I hope you keep in touch with us, man. And
I will. I've got y'all added, and I'm following.
Yo, right on, man. Yo, God bless you. Tell your wife we said hello, man. I'm glad you guys made it home safe. And thank you so much for coming on.
No, it was my pleasure, y'all. You guys have a great night.
You too,
Good
man.
night. Thank you for sharing
Thanks
your
again.
story.
Wow. What do you think about? I'm just like, wow. Like, how do you guys feel about that?
They had two different experiences, but they both kind of had the same sort of like conclusion where this is a new festival. There's going to be a lot of
Can I tell you
problems.
something? I feel like we made it cool.
I think
No,
we made it. I think we
let's think
also
better.
created a place for people to feel comfortable saying
About
their
talking
story.
about it. That's the point.
Because at this
Right, it's
we
not
live
that
in
it's
such
cool.
a time where people like hush hush, don't say anything.
Right. I guess it's not that it's cool. It's that a variety of people don't have to be close or know everything about each other or whatever, but to get in a place and talk about something as simple as the music industry.
Yeah.
They all had their own ideas, their own opinions, their own different perspectives.
Experience.
And just because everybody had a different experience, we all still had some type of value, you know, to learn from the conversation. I'm blown away by both of their stories because it just shows you once again, like, unless you're there, you know, shut the fuck up. Unless you're there to really see what's going on, unless you're there surviving with people, this goes for us, this goes for anybody. If there's anything we could really learn about, as far as the stuff you can't control, especially, you know what I mean? I think that there's a lot of people there that are hurt. I think there's a lot of people there that are betrayed. I think a lot of people there have, you know, like probably legal, you know, responsibilities, you know, they want to clean their play with or whatever. I know there's a bunch of refunds, and there's like logistics, but on a level of the community coming together and as human beings surviving the situation, you know what I mean, and using the chain of command, you know, coming home and using conversations and not result into, you know, Woodstock 99. I wanted to ask them on a scale of Woodstock 99.
Well, you could ask them in the comments.
Yeah, if you guys are still on, Woodstock 99 being, you know, being 10. What, you know.
What would you give?
I mean,
Blueridge?
yeah, I mean, there was minimal amounts of poop. And, you know, Woodstock 99, you had more fire and rape. So.
And riots.
I mean, who needs a blowtorch when you have a bonfire? That'll be it for tonight.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.